I really, truly feel sorry for you if you're going into your first, your second, your third fight and you're not scared. You don't have fear in your heart. Because let me tell you, 100% of the time, when somebody's not scared, they lose their first fight. Today's episode is raw. It's basic, but it's something you need to hear. You absolutely do. Before we get to that, I want to let everybody know there are only 3 days left on early bird pricing for my upcoming course, Strike Ready Movement, where we're going to be focusing on distance, balance, and range training. This is going to be a fantastic course. We have 5 weeks, 3 live calls during that time period, and like everybody else who has joined the Strike Ready courses, you're going to love it. So link down below. Now, I was talking with somebody the other day on a Zoom session, and they were saying, oh, I have a fight coming up, and I got a little fear. Like, I'm a little bit embarrassed to say it, but I have some fear. And I think we have this perception that fear is negative, when in fact, in my experience, it is the exact opposite. Now, I'm going to tell you what I'm basing this off. Number one, for most of my career, I have been very scared to compete. Now, the fear comes from different places. It might be from the crowd. It might be from the scary opponent. It might be from the fact that I don't want to lose, the outside pressures, whatever else. But I've had fear very often. The 2 things that I've noticed is, number one, when somebody's having their first fight and they have told me they don't have any fear, and I look at them throughout the weeks and I go, whoa, I don't think this guy actually is scared. They lose. Every person I've talked to who has said this, they lose. And I think right now that's probably 5 or 6 people. Everybody else is scared. Everybody else trains like they're scared, like there's fear in their heart. And most of the time, the guys that train with me or around me, they win. But the ones who do not have that fear, they seem to lose. Now, from a personal standpoint, more often than not, when I'm fighting for these titles, when I'm fighting for these promotions, when I had one of my first fights was for this belt very early in my career, just a BC amateur title. When I fought for that, I was very scared, very, very scared. As I got further in my career and I got more comfortable with everything in fighting, I started to get a little bit less fearful. And a couple of times when I lost, it was because I had a lack of fear. I underestimated my opponent. If I normally train like 10 out of 10 on the difficulty scale, maybe I did like 9 or 9.5. And you don't give the sport and your opponent and everything the respect they deserve. And as odd as it is to say, fear is beneficial. It will push you to a limit you might not normally have been capable of. And I think it's a healthy response to what is approaching. Now, hopefully you get in the ring, you finish it fast, and you're like, oh, look at that, there was nothing to be worried about. But if you do that too many times, you have too many success stories, too many wins in a row, it kind of fades. And it's hard to bring back that fear. But man, on your first fight, already thinking you have it all figured out and there's nothing to be worried about, whoa, massive mistake. Now, we want to draw that borderline, of course, between I'm scared and I can still train and still, to a certain extent, enjoy the experience, and then crossing into the other threshold where you hate your life, you're in fear all the time, and for a whole training camp, you're miserable. That's no fun. We don't want that. So you got to dial in between being like, no, there's no fear, it doesn't exist, I'm super chill, and way too much. Somewhere in the middle is that happy medium, which I'm talking about, and that's where you want to sit. That's where you want your fight camp to take place. Now, when in particular does fear arise in me, and when should it arise in you if we look at the length of a training camp, right up to starting point, right to the very end? The beginning of training camp, I'm honestly having fun. I'm like, what's my job right now? Get back in shape, get the timing back, do what I love. And the fight is far off. For me, we're talking 10 weeks away. It's not, stressing me out yet. Around 7, 8 weeks, I start to go, oh, okay, I've got to pick up my training. And when I pick up my training, I know it's because the fight is getting closer. Then that initial little bit of fear starts to build. Just a little bit. Comes sporadically, day to day. When we start getting down to 4 weeks, where I'm like, okay, now this is the crunch time. This is the mean part of training camp. That's when I start thinking about, okay, travel's coming up. Oh, I'm starting to do interviews about my opponent. That's when it all starts to really hit. And that's a fine time, I think, because you have those crazy training days ahead of you, and it's the perfect time for the fear to build, but have somewhere to put that fear. Like, okay, I'm extra scared today, and I'm gonna train extra hard because I'm so scared and I don't wanna lose. It works great. It really does. And then we get to fight week, where we dial back on the intensity of training. The work should have all been done. At this point, you do not want to be questioning your work ethic. You don't want to look back and go, oh, I wish I had another week or two. No. That fear should have driven you to push yourself to now you're a week away and you're going, whew, okay, at least I feel good about what I've done. I've prepared the way I should have prepared. But that fear is still there. And it should be there in a healthy way until you step in the ring, until you start your fight warm-up, or you get midway through your fight warm-up. That's when you should start transitioning from, okay, I have the fear, to I'm so good. I can't be beaten. I feel like $1 million. That's that transition from the fear to I'm a beast kind of mindset. And I think that's a great time for it to happen. You do not want to be stepping in the ring cocky, but you don't want to step in fearful. And really, the confidence will come from how hard you push yourself in training. Again, no fear. If you have no fear, you don't push yourself as hard in training. I just don't know if it's possible, right? To push yourself to that same point you will when you have fear eating away at you. So do not run away from fear. Let it guide you to a harder, more productive camp, and you get more victories as a result. This has been my experience in fight sports, viewing other people and knowing what works for me. And I wanted to share that with all of you in just this sort of raw, blunt episode. So hopefully your next fight is a great fight. Your next camp is you driving and driving and driving to the point you go, yes, I'm proud of that training camp, and then you go and get the win. That's it, guys. I'll see you back on the channel very soon.